Hi, good evening. Welcome once again to the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. We also coming to you live on YouTube. You could also get it there on the Guyanese critic page, or you could also tune in to TBN or Daybreak News. We coming to you there also. So I want to say good night or good morning or midnight to you wherever you are. I know that people are still shopping along the roadways, and if you're listening to us, be safe on the roadways, people. Just 2 days. Sorry, what am I thinking? We're just one day away from the last day of the year, and what a year it has been. Very awakening for myself, a learning experience, and I think Guyanese people should get ready to really raise the bars, because this year has been a lesson when it comes to what is this country, what are the possibilities, what are the opportunities. At least for me, I could talk for myself. But I know I've been talking to a lot of people across the country. People have been tuning in, people have been texting us, people have been calling us, giving their views. And the last 6 months or so, we have been talking to the leaders within our country, trying to get a feel of what they're thinking, what has transpired in the past, and what is probably the way forward. It is a very special day also for two people at least that I know. There's a lot of people celebrating anniversaries across the country. We have in the studio today my co-host Freddie Kissoon, and today happens to be a very special day for him. And I'd want to say, before I do anything today, it would be very remiss of us not to wish Freddie Kissoon a happy birthday, a happy birthday, my friend. And I want to say that may you live to see many more, and that comes deep within the heart, Freddie. And I think on behalf of my family, I don't like to do things in public. I hope it's a very small token, like many others. Today happens also to be the anniversary of the President finale and the First Lady, and I want to take the opportunity to extend, and anybody else would be celebrating today any anniversary, birthdays, happy anniversary, happy birthday to you. We are going to be decided tonight, because it is going to be the last program for us for the year, that we're going to open the lines, or we're going to have our discussions for us and open the lines, because we want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you expect to happen next year? How do you rate the performance of this government? How do you rate the performance of the opposition? What is it that you didn't like? What is it that you like? So these are some of the things that we want to talk about. The last couple programs that we would have had here, my phone was ringing off the hook. We had to have a huge number of persons from overseas, especially in the North America area here. They would have been tuning in, and I got a call not too long ago from somebody who said he was stuck in the snow that they had there, in the eastern part of the U.S., and he said he barely made it in time home. Today, he could not have made it home for Christmas. So I want to say good night and good day to all those folks across there who have been, working hard, but of course more so to my Guyanese people right here at home. I'm going to hand the floor over to Freddie Kissoon. He's all dressed in white today. I'm not sure if that's any indication of what he feels, but let us hear what he feels.
Good evening. Happy holidays to you. This is our last program. And I did say the last program and on my column today that today is my birthday, and I have a surprise to you. Well, the first surprise is an anticlimax. Gildarie said that the surprise would be I'd bald my head. I don't know why Gildarie would think I would bald my head. Young men bald their head, that's a style. Not a troglodyte like me. Gildarie should bald his head. So here I am, my hair on my head. My wife insisted that I must bring along a piece of a black cake for Mistress Gildarie. And my wife do make a nice black cake. And my wife insisted that I bring something for Mistress Gildarie. So here's a piece of black cake and a little gift for Mistress Gildarie. And it's something that is manufactured in Guyana. When we come back next year, I'm going to abuse you and cuss you down about not supporting local. So for Mistress Gildarie, Leonard Gildarie, nothing for you.
I don't know if there's anything
you're a young
significant
trumpet.
that you would want to talk about Mrs. Gildarie and not about Gildarie, who happens to be a friend. Thank you very much, Freddie.
Well, here is a surprise now. It's my birthday, and I promise you a surprise that is dear to my heart and soul. Now watch me. Let me show you the surprise.
It's a magic trick, people. Anything can happen on this show.
This is my baby. This is my baby.
Man.
Now, this is one of the foundations of my life. She's 9 years old, and her name is Princess. I have 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a rabbit. Now, the dog Sammy cannot go in the car. He will break it up, literally break it up. He's 35 pounds, and he would break those windscreens. He doesn't like the car. But of course, you can't put the 2 cats in the car. Since she was a puppy, she has been driven around. So she cannot be without the car. She's been going to the seawall for the 9 years that she's alive on this earth. And what she does in the morning, she behaves miserably like a fish out of water if she's not driven on the seawall. So we came from the seawall, I had a bath, and I rushed down here. So from the seawall, we came here. So this is my surprise to you. Now, someone once said, the human soul is never complete unless you love an animal. When you love an animal, you see how these things here have human-like qualities. I believe civilization is incomplete unless people appreciate and love animals. When you get close to an animal, you live with an animal, you see how close they are to humans, how more loving they are to humans. So this is my surprise to you. This is my baby, one of the foundations of my life. She's 9 years old, and the sad thing about these pets you love is that cats and dogs have a 15-year lifespan. And I don't know how people cope when they pass. You have them 15 years with you, and I don't know if science could do something that could make them live longer than that. But the surprise tonight is not my bald head. The surprise tonight is nothing else but my little baby here, Princess. I'd like to introduce you to her. For the 6 months that you've been seeing Gildarie and I here, I thought on my birthday I should give you this surprise. Now, I'm going to put her down, let her stay in the ground there, and we continue the program. It's a call-in program, and it's the last show for 2022. We've been going for 6 months, and we've learned a lot of things. And I'm glad that for the year, Guyana has seen Gildarie again, back in the news, back in journalism. I think for the past 20 years, there have been 2 journalists that Guyana produced that I think are outstanding. I'm not going to compare them with the older folks like Adam Harris, Burt Wilkinson. I mean, they've established their names. But for the past 20 years, I think 2 journalists for me, I've worked with them, and I saw the dedication as a surgeon, as a lawyer, as an engineer to their job. I saw the dedication in them. And I thought after Gildarie left the Kaicho News, for a reason which I believe he should have, and then he went into business, I said to myself, it's so unfortunate that this guy is not in people's presence. And so we arranged this show. The 2 journalists, I think, the past 20 years that have stood out is Dale Andrews of the Kaijo News, who's no longer with us, and Leonard Gildarie. I believe they are the most dedicated journalists the past 20 years. I've seen the U.S. ambassador said that she's facilitating training of journalists so they can ask the hard questions. Well, I think for the past 20 years, only Gildarie and Dale Andrews have asked hard questions. Journalism is really in a mess in this country. So I'll put on my baby here, and we'll get the phone lines ringing. Thanks for being with my baby. Now, before I put down my baby, the point is not to live forever, but to leave something that will live forever. I spent endless hours with her, and one day I said to her, my daughter calls me Papa, and one day I said to her, I looked at her, we were on the beach on a huge rock, and I said to her, call me Papa, call me Papa. And she called me Papa, so I'm going to look at the camera and say to her, call me Papa. Now this image, I hope, will last forever. So, call me Papa. See? She said Papa. So, the phone lines are open.
Freddie Kissoon, if you've been watching and you know Freddie Kissoon, or you would have heard about Freddie Kissoon, here it is Freddie Kissoon. There's another side to him. I won't use the word emotional side to him, but there's another side.
Let me get on with the program.
No, Freddie, these things are important. But of course, we're going to open the lines. We want to talk about where this country was for the past year. We knew where it was in 2020. And where is it going to go? Where do we like this country to be in the next 10 years? We want to talk about things like generational wealth. What are we leaving for our children? What would we like future governments to do? Whether it is the PPP, whether it's the PNC, whether it's a coalition. How is it that we like this country to be when it comes to customer service? We've been talking about the police and their actions. We've been talking about our people, our attitude within people, the road, the madness that happens in the country. But let us go right ahead.
I have a complaint to make. I have a complaint to make to you.
Right.
Before we answer the phone.
Yes, we've answered the phone. Go ahead, caller. You on the air.
Good night, Mr. Gildarie, and good night, Mr. Freddie Kissoon. This is a caller from downtown Latham. Greetings to you guys.
Oh, good night, Latham, all the folks down there. Region 9, go right ahead.
Yeah, I think Mr. Kissoon mentioned he want to hear how the government perform, how the opposition is performing.
We talking tonight is your night, folks. Very short and sweet. Go right ahead, Latham. Hello.
We lost that call?
Yeah, we lost that call.
But I want to say something to you, Gildarie, as a senior journalist.
We lost that call.
As a senior journalist in this country, I'm saying something.
I'm retired, you know.
I'm showing journalism here now. Gildarie, there are two letters today in the papers, one in the Starbuck News and one in the Kaicho News, identical letters. It's written by Professor Randolph Prasad of the American University and Constitutional Affairs Advisor to the President. In this letter, here is a line. I agree with Freddie Kissoon that the government policy of removing encumbrances from the pulpit should be even-handed. That's the Kaicho News. The identical letter was printed in the Starbuck News, and they took out Freddie Kissoon's name and said, the government removal of encumbrances in the pulpit must be even-handed. A name?
Wow.
Just.
I don't know what it is, but we have, let's see, there's a call from overseas here again. Let's see what happens here. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. This is Freddie Gildarie.
Yes, you're on to the show. Go right ahead, sir, very quickly.
Okay, hi. Good night, Mr. Freddie, and happy birthday to you. Quick question for you, Mr. Freddie. The last time we had our opposition leader on the show, there was a statement that was made by the opposition leader regarding the he rather to be sanctioned.
Yeah, you rather live with sanctions and
Right. And I was trying to call the last show that you have, but unfortunately I didn't get you. Sir, would you mind elaborate on that somewhere so that we could get a little bit to understand?
Oh, his take on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, are you on the line?
Yes, sir.
The problem is when we open the line, we want as much calls as possible so people can express themselves. When I go into that, I take about 3-4 minutes and the calls coming in. So I will start to answer a question, but we'll have to break and take the calls, right? Because the calls are for the people to express themselves.
Maybe at the end we could do a wrap-up.
I did write a column, so if you go on the net and go on Kaicho News, I explain the implications of Norton's statement in my Kaicho News column yesterday. The entire column is devoted to that. But there's a call coming in.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
sir.
for coming
Solid.
through there, man. And all the best for the new year. Good. Good evening, caller.
Oh, good evening. I'm looking at on Freddie Kissoon show at this present moment. I would like to say, seems as
Lower the volume. You need to lower the volume that you have in the background, please.
no, it's okay, Louis. Okay, you can't hear me?
No, we're hearing a feedback. So just lower that volume right down.
It's Freddie Kissoon talking.
No. You're calling and you listen to something which is giving us a feedback. Just
That's
low.
what I'm saying. I'm listening to Freddie Kissoon on the air at the moment.
No, you have to turn that volume down. Turn that volume down and talk to
You
us.
know what volume you're talking about.
All right, go ahead. Talk to us quickly.
Hold on. You could hear me, you know.
No, but you're feeding back into whatever it is.
All right, good. I want to do it. I'm doing it.
Thank you.
You hear me?
Yes, we hear you clearly.
All right, then. What I would like to say, all right.
Yes, go right ahead quickly, sir.
No, it's a lady, it's a woman talking.
Oh, it's a woman. Okay, good. Sorry.
I turn off the phone. It's just the phone I was listening to.
Uh-huh.
What I would like to say, since as I seeing the program at this moment, I would like to talk about I would like Guyana to improve in certain things. What I know about when I was in Guyana, you know.
Uh-huh.
Like foods and so on, I would like it to be reasonable price because a bag of rice is so much. I mean, when I was growing up, it was high, yes, but not so high.
All right. The reasons why prices are the way that they are, and there's a couple of reasons for that. But go right ahead. Food is one. What's the next one?
Yeah, one. And the flooding as well, I would like it to, the government to do something about the flooding.
Okay. Yes.
Seems as rain coming every year. We know that, right?
Yes.
When I was a child, it used to flood, yes, but not so much.
Well, if you see the volume of rain that fell over the last couple of weeks, is unbelievable. I'm surprised that we didn't have more flooding, to be honest. Every day is rain.
I agree with you.
Every day, and you got to see the intensity of it. Okay, so flooding, food, and what's the next one?
But the other one is one important one. Make the statement around the country. Don't let nobody throw rubbish in the drains.
All right, got you very clearly. So food, flooding, garbage. All right, thank you very much for coming through. A happy new year to you and your family.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And very simple, Freddie Kissoon. Okay, go ahead, caller. Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yes, hi.
Yes,
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
I'm calling. You guys can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly. Go right ahead.
Okay, first I want to say happy birthday to Mr. Freddie Kissoon. We are contemporaries. I am a guy from Kitty, Campbellville area, so I know where you walk your dog and stuff. I'm calling from Florida.
Yes, good night,
And I want
Florida.
to thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
So we started listening to Leonard when he was on the Kitesville radio 2 years ago. You know, I think it was 2020.
Yes.
Leonard has a good sense of the people, especially when he's taking calls. Freddie kind of display a kind of a monotonous posture at times. I know he gets bored, I guess because Freddie is such an intellectual. Anyway, Freddie, I read your article on Kitesville News 2 days ago, and about Mr. Norton.
Yes, continue. We listen to you.
Okay, and I'm in agreement with your points about Norton, Freddie. My analysis of Norton and the coalition is this. What a clown show.
What a what?
It's a clown show.
Oh, okay.
CLOWN.
Yes.
Okay, a parliamentary system requires a loyal opposition to be a check and balance on the government.
That's correct.
Most of the time, the opposition is absent from debates in Parliament. How can they check and balance if they're not there? And that story with the mace is such a display of thuggery. So, hey, I kind of support you guys in this limited time of calling. You know, you should do 2 minutes with a 2 minutes with a 15-second grace. And I just want you to know that the diaspora is listening attentively and everything. The only problem is that the diaspora, especially with those people who left back in the 60s, the 70s, and 80s, they're now senior citizens. You know, we guys, we need good medical care, we need safety, we need personal security, and these are big considerations when we're deciding whether we want to come back to Guyana or not.
Absolutely.
Our children, mostly born outside of Guyana, are generally strangers to Guyana, so they will not leave the comfort of their parents' adopted country. But overall, I just want to say the PPP is doing a great job, man. Dr. Ali is a true people president, a genuine leader, unparalleled in Caribbean history. So keep up the good work, Leonard and Freddie.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, and all the best to you and your family for the new year. All right?
Okay, thank you. Same to you guys. Bye-bye.
Another call. I missed that one there. I want to say, Freddie, this is what this show is all about. Sometimes I listen. Look, let's take these calls, man. Good evening. Hello. Hello.
Good evening. You guys were, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Go right ahead, please.
You guys were talking the last time about accidents on the road, and it's what you guys are talking about. It make no sense because Mr. Best killed a cyclist and he got off, right? So this is not going to go anywhere with all the accidents and all kinds of stuff like that.
I
I'll take it from there.
I don't understand. Are you on the line?
Yeah, he's here. You're saying that we spoke about accidents on the road.
It makes no sense.
And it makes no sense with regards to the new laws that is in place?
No, not the new laws. It's about the people doing bad things on the road and getting off before. Best killed the cyclist and he got off.
But why should
the soldier.
Why should that be the criterion in analyzing the failure of advocates like us to lament road fatalities? Why if Bess got off through whatever happened in the court of law, that should be the standard bearer to judge calls for changes in traffic laws? I'm not getting the connection. So you want to explain? I think you need to take a say. Right. Let's hear what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is that once you got high position, you got money, you can get off. You do a lot of crap on the road.
I think I put it.
But I agree with that. But at the same time, life has to go on.
I think I understand what you're saying, Freddie. There's a lot of frustration. I understand what you're trying to say. I believe what you're trying to say,
That's
sir.
not changing, bro.
Right, nothing changes, right. But however, let me make this point to you.
Okay, good. I'll listen to you.
Yeah. Let me make this point, and to all Guyanese, we sit here, when Freddie told me it's been 6 months, I can't believe him. Time has flown. The reason why we sit here is because sitting on your hands and doing nothing or spinning your wheels in the sand is not something that there are few Guyanese who just would not be sitting and doing nothing. We want to get ourselves and we want to be advocates because it's not in our nature to stay silent. Now, all over the world, if a few good men sit down and do nothing, we would never see the changes. So whether you like it or not, or whether anybody likes it or not, if we sit down as Guyanese and just allow the status quo to continue, we could never see the improvements of what our country, the potential that it could be. And you and I have to open our mouths and talk about it.
Is he still on the line?
Yes, I think so.
You still?
Yeah, still on the
Yeah,
line.
I understand.
I'm living in
I understand.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
And I think it's going to get worse in Guyana. It's as the society gets richer, as more people get richer, they're going to become powerful and going to come beyond the law. I understand your frustration. I've lived with that frustration all my life. So your point is taken.
Thank you very much for coming through. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye. Interesting point, though. Good evening, caller.
He's right.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday to you, Mr. Freddie.
Hi, thanks.
Yes. All right. The caller just now about he have an issue with this guy Gary Best getting off the case. Now, whenever someone is involved in an accident or any allegation brought against them, they take a liar. I'm not picking up from Mr. Best here, but I think what I read in the paper was that Best got off because the instrument they used to carry out the test with him, I think his lawyer argued that the results should be inadmissible in court because the instrument was not certified. It missed its certification date.
Right, it's a technicality, right? Almost like a technicality.
Yeah. So now, let me put that aside. So I guess the caller is probably frustrated because every time there is something involved, people in position, whether it's in the private sector, rich people, or people in the government sector, involved in some wrongdoing or allegation point against them, they always get off. 99%. Look today, I read in the Starbuck News. The driver that is involved in the accident with the cyclist that was killed at Enmore, the family is crying now that every time they go to the station, all they hearing that the file is with the DPP. Every single time that there is an incident that involves anybody, whether it's the PNC or the PPP, the file is always at the DPP. It's always there, and it leaves there forever. So people are getting frustrated of the same system because you keep seeing one thing over and over every day. If a man gets knocked down, the ministry vehicle kill a man on the road. Why the file have to go all the way to the DPP and be sitting there? Well, the police didn't come, they didn't take measurement, they didn't take statements.
Well, that's a very valid point that you've made there. Let me tell you very clear off. Today, as we speak, to one day before the end of 2022, I can tell you very clearly that 2022 is not 2012. You have social media, and we have so many powerful tools at our fingertips.
Yeah.
We have become I think the citizens, for the first time ever in my life, my shorter life than Freddie Kissoon, I could say that the people got more power than the government. And if they don't understand that,
Yes.
starting to understand that you have more power than the NDCs, than the RDCs. The government is working for you. You're not working for the government.
Yeah,
Start understanding the concepts.
And what I think we need a body. Okay, like you guys, you're doing a good program. You have an excellent program by allowing people to highlight whatever is bothering them or what they would like to change. But I think they need a body that individual can send videos, photos, and large companies.
Oh no, they got them all over their social media. So
What you're talking about,
right?
what you're talking
They would be
about,
afraid.
he's
to
talking
report
about
because
a
they might
constitutional.
frightened to get victimized or something.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
You hold on the line. Something is very, very wrong, inherently wrong with this country. Do you know there's a constitutional body, sir, that is on the shelf, and it's the constitutional body that every citizen, if you ask them to prioritize what they would like to see implemented, they would identify that particular one. Every soul that is a Guyanese in the diaspora and here would say, oh, we want that. You know what it is? It's in the Constitution 20 years ago, and somebody out there do not want it. It's the Human Rights Commission, a constitutional body that's independent, that could go to a police station, go to a factory, and say you're in violation of the law. Do you know that body exists on the Constitution? And we're going to have next year all kinds of constitutional bodies in place, but not that one, the Human Rights Commission.
Well, if they're not doing the job. Like I say, maybe we need some organization. It's just that, like, people who are brave, okay, I can go take a little complaint there, I can take some pictures. Like, I remember a few months ago I called Gildarie about the containers that is parking at the industrial site there. But
Yeah, we remember that call. Yeah.
Maybe didn't get a chance to look at it, but I would be happy if you would just take a look at it for yourself one evening while you're going home.
I will definitely do it. I think I did take some photographs
of
of
it. Are
it.
out there without reflectors or nothing.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much for coming through and good points.
Yeah, man. Anyway, all the best for the new year, and you guys take care. Freddie, once again, enjoy your birthday.
Okay, sure.
You take care, sir. Bye-bye. Freddie, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but before once the call comes, but he's right. He's
frustration
right.
by people.
He's right. There is no centralized body that you could go to and say, look, this policeman came to my home, I have him in charge, and he took away my television set 3 months now. There's nobody you can go to.
That's not true. I don't believe that's true. We have several bodies that you could argue that it's not working. But if you
No, but if
the
they're
police
not
are not
working, do they
working,
exist?
yeah. No, but if the police are not working, you could go to the police complaints authority. There's this guy that used to be Justice Ramlal that is sitting there now.
Yeah.
So there's a couple, but they
No, but that's
also
police. That's
right.
the police.
For the police, if the police not doing the work.
Whatever
Now,
factory man, I'm paying you for
Remember
months.
the case of the NBS? I think it was Maurice Arjun that had an issue when he was fired. He took the matter to the office of the ombudsman, and that's where I learned that the ombudsman had some fantastic powers.
None at all. Which fantastic.
No. At
There were
that
2
point in time-
cases before
right,
the ombudsman.
Hold on.
Arjun and my case.
You could argue. No, I'm not arguing whether
The
it is
ombudsman has no
effective.
power.
No, if it's not effective, but they had powers to investigate.
Yes, and they did that with my.
No, that's the powers I'm talking about. But hold on.
Nothing happened.
Well, but
Nobody
hold on.
compensated me.
Hold on. The case came before that.
Yeah, and
but
you
these
ruled-
are
you ruled that I was
there
wrong for
are the
this.
point I'm trying to make. There are forums that you could go to. The things that the people
That's going to
complain.
increase people frustration.
Yeah. But the fact is, are they
go to these
effective?
forums.
Are they effective?
Are they-
And that's the argument.
I mean, Arjun in my case, the ombudsman ruled in our favor.
Absolutely.
Nobody even give you $5 as compensation.
Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Hi. Yes. Go right ahead.
You guys heard it?
Yes, we hear you clearly.
All right. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm going to be very quick. I just have 2 comments to make. First of all, I want to commend you guys for doing a great job. You and Freddie Kissoon, Gildarie, Freddie Kissoon doing a great job. I want to wish you a happy birthday. What I want to is make sure, I know you're doing this, but just to reinforce it, make sure you guys always speak the truth and don't be afraid to ask them. Like Freddie said earlier, don't be afraid to ask hard questions. Make sure you put the truth out there. And I want to wish you guys a happy new year and a very bright future for all Guyanese. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much from the heart. Thank you very much. All the best in the year. Freddie, and this thing is very, very simple. I don't think there's anybody in Guyana that does not want to wish or see Guyana in a good path, in a good position where it becomes a world leader in terms of the country. Every Guyanese, I think, has the same vision for this country. But I just wanted to make that point. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening. Could I be on the show there?
Yes, you're on the show. Go right ahead.
Yes, a couple of points I want to make. I listened to Aubrey Norton last week. The question I was hoping that you guys would have posed is that those comments you're making or those allegations you're making against the PUP, where the evidence to support those allegations? And I didn't hear you guys ask that question. The other thing too I want to touch on is that as these the ministers, are they accountable for their actions? Like you have in any private company, you have performance reviews. Are these ministers held accountable for the time they've been in office, for the things they have done? The reason I ask is that, take for example, the Ministry of Agriculture. If you ask that guy what progress he has made from the time he took office to today, I don't see any progress. It's just reiterating the same thing that the other people have done. The other question also I would like to touch on is that tomorrow is the divorce papers going to file with the AFC, all 4 clowns, and I think they're going to be on the air too. So they'll be parting ways with the PNC or the APNO, whatever you call it. You know, would that be a celebration? That should be a celebration.
Celebration for who?
Celebration for whom?
Is that
Who cares about
these people?
Who cares about the AFC separating from?
No, but it is, I'm interested in it for another reason, Freddie and Sir. For one simple reason, I'm interested to see what the PNC does if the AFC goes ahead.
Oh, you mean the seats?
Right.
The 9
How
seats.
they deal with the 9 seats that the AFC has, because the prerogative of that, and when we would have asked Aubrey Norton as leader of the opposition, how is he going to handle that? In essence, he dodged the question, and that is going to be interesting how they go ahead and do that, because there's going to be a legal dilemma, is a word for that?
But you cannot have 9 AFC parliament.
Yeah, they went as a front, as an alliance. But very good questions, very good points. All right?
I got a final one for you. We talk about the flooding in Georgetown or in Guyana as a whole, but I'm from the West Demerara, and I could tell you that during my time in the 70s and probably the early 80s, there were 5 sluices that was in full operation. That was I think was on the Bookers when they had the sugar estate.
That's long ago then? That's very long ago.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When the PNC took office, while they were in office, then they all closed down. I think it's only one was functioning. That's the 28 years of inheritance we got from them. Then the PV got into power, and still is only one sluice. And you want to know why the West Demerara, from the bridge area, I forget what they call that place, from the bridge right up to Phoenix Park, is constantly flooded. Because there's only one sluice working.
It's not only the one sluice, they've reconfigured the entire land. There were specific drainage areas. I happen to know it because I used to be covering flooding whenever they had it. But they reconfigured the entire area. Housing schemes went there, drainage canals went another way, and the whole place, it just went into shambles. And now you're trying to fix it.
Yeah, but if you look, there's only one sluice working, and that's the one by Schoonard, by the power station. There's no other sluice that's working for that two miles I'm talking about. And I mean, how much engineers you need to figure that out?
Well, there's a couple of ways that you can look at this. I think, and I did raise this question, this point about a week or two back. We would have, in the 90s, been concentrated on paying off our debts, and we managed to bring down our debts that we owed overseas, because a good part of the earnings would have gone there. Fast forward to where we are now. Now we have monies available. One would think that the government would be directing some of those monies to key infrastructure works, and I know that they've been doing it. As to how effective or how quickly and whether we put in as much money as we should, those are things that needs to be debated, and those are very good points.
But he has a point there.
Right.
Why is it one sluice working?
Right. No, very good points. All right. Thank you very much for coming through.
Good job, man.
Yes, man. Take care. God bless. All the best in here.
Yeah.
Bye. All right. Wherever you are, good night. We have you are tuned in to the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show, and you can get us on 231 if you're local in Guyana, 231-2982. Let them did call us a little earlier. We lost that call, unfortunately. It's good to hear from Region 9, and of course a lot of overseas people. 231-2982. If you're overseas, 637-1071 is the WhatsApp number that you could call us on. We're hoping to hear from you. Freddie Kissoon.
We got interrupted. I was making a complaint to you as a senior journalist, but we got interrupted. If the calls come in,
yeah, let's take the call. We're gonna take. We have to take the
call as a priority.
Go ahead, caller. Go right ahead.
Mr. Gildarie, are you online?
Yes, we're very much online, on air, very live at the moment.
All right, I'll call you back. Offline. I have to.
Oh, you want to talk to me personally? Okay, no problem. Thank you very much for coming through. Call me.
All right, thank you.
Good, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Mr. Leonard.
Yes, no problem. Just lower the volume of whatever it is that you're listening to.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm calling from Iconi. I had tried to call you yesterday. I had called you the night before.
Yes.
Yes, it's in regards to the Iconi branch road with contract which was being given out to a contractor which is they're ongoing works on the road. But for it's year and almost and nothing has happened. So project is stalled.
There is a gentleman in that area that is of the, I think he is a commentator, cricket commentator, Inderjeet.
Yes,
Have you reached out to Mr. Inderjeet? Have you reached out to Mr. Inderjeet?
Yes, and he and I are on the same page because I had even called the engineer several times after knowing now that, well, you know my number, you don't answer my call.
Who is the engineer?
That's the guy from Public Works.
What's his name?
I can't recall his name right now.
Get his name, get me a call and let me know that.
His name is not Paddington?
What's that?
His name is not Paddington? Sherwood Paddington?
No, it's not that name.
Or get that number for me and you could give me a call and let me know. Or the name or whatever it is, and let us try to raise it, because this is the second time we're hearing about it. I find it unacceptable that there are representatives in the area. I know Mr. Inderjeet very well, and I know that he's a very proactive fellow. I'm going to have a chat with him. Just give me a call and my number, and maybe I could link you up with him. All right?
Okay. That is one, and also with like works which is being executed in our area.
Yes.
I listened to the interview that you guys had with the opposition leader.
Yes.
And I would be honest with you, if victimization is being played, or people are being not getting what it's the other way around. Like where we are living in the Iconi branch road.
Yes.
When you come from the public road, where the African supporters, or basically it's two races that support either party.
Yeah.
Right? From where the Indian people start living or resides, where Inderjeet, myself, and everybody resides on this side, if you drive along on the roadways in the night, you would see where the dark patches are. Roads which were recently constructed, street lights are bright like day. And where we are living, nothing. The telephone lines, same thing. Where the playground, right now they're constructing a building in a swamp of a playground. Mortis Primary School have a playground, basically with nothing.
Are you aware, sir, that you have representatives in those areas? And I would suggest, hold on, hear my suggestion. I think as going forward, because I think Freddie and I, we have been sitting here for the last 6 months. And I think the stories that you were saying to us there is something that we hear in pretty often.
Yeah, they do have parliamentary.
Right,
but
you have representatives there. And if you can't get your representatives, you have to start getting somebody to write letters to the newspaper, put it on Facebook or wherever you could put it, and start naming and shaming these people. Why are you sitting there and you're not representing the people? That does not make sense.
Each parliamentarian from the 65 parliamentarians
sure, go ahead,
have
sir.
a constituency.
30 years of application, and over since we would have applied, myself and Dad, apply for state lands, right? At where we have cattle, actually a cattle fences set up. I write the former, the vice president. I had the letter delivered in his hands, right? Not a response to this day, and I would be open and frank with you now. When they meet, I'm a representative for them, and I can't represent myself.
All right, no problem. Thank you for coming through. You give me a call and let's take it from there.
All right, thank you.
Good night to all the Iconi people there and the Branch Road people.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Somebody is asking us to talk about or let's raise the issue of the deplorable roads in a place called Granville Park, East Coast Demerara. If anybody is listening.
A guy came on here.
Right, Granville Park, East Coast.
A guy came on and said there's a housing estate in Hostel in his name.
Hi, good evening. Hi, good evening. Lower the volume that you have in the background, please.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, well, first time calling to the show, calling from abroad.
Yes, you sound like a Trinidadian, but go right ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm a Guyanese migrated to Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, very good. Good night to all Guyanese in Trinidad.
Yeah. I like how you question the opposition leader on the status quo of the country and going forward, and I like questions that Freddie posed to him direct. Guyana really and truly don't have a race issue. You don't have, because if it had a race issue and if it was an apartheid state, they would have had mass murder, massacre like we went on in South Africa and in Rwanda. Agree or he disagree?
Well, the opposition leader basically says that there's apartheid, but he's talking about economic apartheid. I think that is he was trying to push it, but you cannot put the two together. You cannot put.
There isn't even economic apartheid in
I don't know how you put those two words. You can't coin those words together.
It's the opposition way of saying.
But go ahead very quickly, Trinidad. Let's hear you.
Right. So what I'm saying, in order for Guyana to move forward, Mr. Norton have to put his ego aside, reach out to Mr. Ali, forget Barajak. He's just a VP, but you need to have collective and mature dialogue with Mr. Ali in going forward for the betterment of Guyana.
I love what you're saying.
But I'm glad you raised that.
Hold on, Freddie. I want to be long. His ego is too big, and in doing that, he's making the government look very bad by statements he's making. Put your ego aside, come together, reach across each other across the aisle, because at the end of the day, we all have to hold hand and go together to cross that bridge for a better Guyana. Because Guyana will always be there when Mr. Ali pass, when Mr. Norton pass, when Mr. Jackie, when I pass, when everybody pass, it will still be there.
But there's an important point that we should have discussed in the interview with him. When I said to him, we've reached a stage where you have a Jaganite president that is reaching out to African people. Why don't you dialogue with the man the way Bonham and Jagan did in '84? He came up with a fictional construct. He said, I can't do that because it's Mr. Jagdeo's in charge. Well, how could you say I'm not talking to the president because John Jones controls the president? When you talk to the president and John Jones come in the room and control the president, then you justify in saying, I'm not talking to the president. So that's a fictional construct that he invented there. And I asked him... Anyway,
go ahead.
Anyway, it's okay, so it's your turn. You make your point.
All right.
Right. I saying this now, and I will just say this now, and I'm going to leave this right there. I just wanted it to rest with the spirits of the guys. People listen to what I say. Mr. Ali, are there anybody to contradict Mr. Ali will go down as one of the most and the only humanitarian president ever elected in Guyana. You see what Mr. Ali doing? Plenty presidents don't do that. Go in communities, meet people, reach out to them, fix houses, fix drain, and going down to the grassroots, going with the youth, talking to them. You ever see any other president do that before? Besides Barrett, Jagdeo. You ever see anybody as a young president? You ever see anybody did that before?
Thank you very much. You've left that thought with us, and I will say good night to Trinidad and all the best for the new year to you, sir. Very good point.
Right. Yeah, same to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And that's a very good point.
Let me look to see where my doggy is.
Yeah. That's a very good point. In the meantime, Freddie Sargent is gone.
I've seen her.
You know, anything could happen in studio. Last time we had somebody singing to us, and I like that. And tonight we have Freddie Kissoon. We want to hear those clouds.
Let me close up.
We don't have
I put my dog on the program again.
Yes. Good night. Go right ahead, sir.
Good night, gentlemen. Happy birthday, Freddie.
Thanks.
With regards to the guys who calling about things like roads and stuff like that, there's a local government election coming up soon.
Vote them out.
Exactly, my brother.
Thank you very much.
That is what
People's power.
Bye. Right.
Thank you. We lost. Vote them out. Now you guys are getting Freddie Kissoon. We'd have to analyze. We're going to take about 15 minutes at the end of the show and start analyzing.
Well, it's the people.
Irfan Ali as a president. I think genuinely, and this is my thing, he really wants to leave a legacy. I think most presidents when they started want to leave a legacy, but most of them would have been
Some of
caught
them,
up.
yeah, got sidetracked.
Right, sidetracked. But you see, 2-3 years later, this man is like an energizer bunny. Just keep getting there. I see him.
Well,
it is a good thing. It spells
for the
good.
calls, right? But the good thing, there's a call there.
Yes, let's go right ahead. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Yes.
I'm calling from Connecticut, Hartford.
Oh, Connecticut. Yes. Go right ahead, sir.
Hartford. This is Cameron. Recognize my name as Cameron as Hartford. Anyway, you and Freddie Kissoon are doing a wonderful job. And my most important point I want to make in Guyana. I'm going to say this tonight to you guys for the last Friday, and maybe next year I'll call back. But it's a man by the name of Ramjetan in Guyana, and coward like this in my life. You know you have a strong party, a strong team. Let's go to the poll, my friend. Then you're going to know who's the winner and who is strong, and with all the talk that he does in Guyana. Name me one good thing what this man ever do in Guyana for any individual but himself. Thank you, sir, and you guys have a good night.
Okay.
Good night to Connecticut, dear. Wherever you are, you guys 231-2982. You are tuned in to the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show, and my name is Leonard Gildarie, and this is Freddie Kissoon, and we're so very happy to be hosting
My
you
name
guys.
is Leonard Gildarie. This is Freddie Kissoon.
Yes. All right, Freddie.
I like that. I like
Yes.
that.
Freddie gets me very confused. Go ahead, caller. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say happy birthday to Freddie. I think.
Like, this is a happy birthday show now, Freddie Kissoon. Go right ahead, Mr.
Yeah, Freddie, I think. I honestly say this: you are one of the greatest Guyanese ever. Why do I say that? You cover everything.
Get to the
politics, race, economics.
No, come on. Tell us about what's on your mind.
Well, the man is paying homage to
No.
you.
All right, thanks a lot. But tell us what's on your mind.
That's on my mind. I just
All right,
want
very
to
good.
say that.
Anything else?
Yeah. I can say there are a lot of things on my mind, but I really salute this great soul.
Tell us what's on your mind.
The man is telling you those things.
Gildarie,
He wants. Look.
Gildarie, stop it.
Freddie Kissoon is trying to.
Gildarie, stop it. Son, tell us some things that are on your mind. No worry, Gildarie. What about Guyana is on your mind? There's so much future this country has, but there's so much wrongs in it. So much wrong things.
Listen, it will take me a long time to tell you all that's on my mind. I think I'd like to remain positive for the evening and say there are good people in the country, and Freddie Kissoon is one of them.
All right, good.
Yeah,
so
Thank you very much, Connecticut, and you guys take care. All the best for the
man
year.
is from Connecticut.
Is that what he says? Is that what he said from
You
Connecticut?
confusing the previous call.
Oh,
And you know what you did the last calling program? A man was on the line, you referred to the man as a lady.
Well, sometimes look, you guys can't blame me. If I'm that's what I'm hearing, I would apologize. I could only do that. I can't lie to you. What, you want me to lie? Yes. Good evening, caller. Hello. I lost that call. What's happening here? My apologies. I want to say good night to everybody who tuned in on Facebook or wherever, commenting. All the Facebook followers, they've been with us.
I have to apologize for those who are viewing it that I'm twisting and turning. My dog's in the studio, so I'm just looking to see if she's all right.
Freddie Kissoon, in the meantime, while we waiting on those calls, I have some wish lists for next year. I would like to see the government. Maybe I'd wait until the end. I would like to see more interactions between the government and the opposition. I'd like to see more sit-ins in the parliament. I'd like to see more laws.
Well,
I'd like to see our bodies working. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Yes.
I would like to make a comment.
Sure.
I must say happy birthday to Mr. Freddie Kissoon.
Thank you.
I'm a Guyanese, and I like what Mr. Ali is doing. He's trying to be fair and balanced. But the thing that concerns me much is the state of Georgetown. I see the government, they're talking a lot about tourism and tourism.
What are you bringing people to Guyana to see? Are you bringing people to Guyana to see the garbage in our streets? Everywhere you turn in the city, garbage. The whole place is packed with garbage. And you cannot talk about tourism. And look, the other problem is this. You have horses, donkeys in and around the city. We are talking about which developed city can you go to and see horses and donkeys in the main thoroughfare of the city?
Since growing up as a little boy, growing up as a little boy, sorry to interrupt you.
Even if they say they're donkeys and horses, that could be taken care of. But this garbage thing is
but hold on. Freddie Kissoon, growing up as a little boy.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago. No, I went
I find it
in Church Street
I find it unacceptable. Growing up as a little boy, Freddie, growing up as a little boy, I cannot believe that you have a government of the day. You have a responsibility to all Guyana. Georgetown is the center of things.
Yeah, they should bypass the city council.
You have a city councillor or a city council that's sitting there with several councillors, and you are allowing the tail to wag the dog. How does that happen?
Hear what I'm
You're the one that's in charge.
I saw that garbage stigma coming back. That thing was there 10 years ago, 50 years ago. I see that thing come back. I believe the government should bite the bullet. The city council is
ineffective.
I think they should clean the city. It's in the interest of Guyana.
The whole city.
Forget about city council.
I was driving around Georgetown.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it.
This all is about politics. This is about politics. But it is, we as Guyanese, you look around, you see a lot of tourists, you see people. And I'm ashamed.
This is an indictment on the government now. It is an indictment. They need to take charge of the city because the people are calling for it. Thank you very much for coming through there, caller.
Thank you very much.
God bless. Bye-bye. There's a caller coming through here. Let's go right here. Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night. Good night. Happy birthday, Freddie.
Finally, we have another beautiful lady on the line. Go right ahead. Freddie, I can get it to understand.
From New York.
Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment. I think the people, if they know the power that they have in their hands in terms of electing their leaders, Guyana would be so amazing. But I think a lot of times people just voting party line instead of the issues. In terms of Georgetown and the city, I mean, I went there this year. I mean, they need to get rid of a lot of the people that, sell on the sidewalk. There's no way for you to walk when you get there. So that's just wanted to point that out.
No, I thank you very much.
Thank you guys. You guys are doing an amazing job.
It is the power of the people. That is what is gonna solve the difference. I want to say thank you very much for coming through all the way from New York.
Why don't go in politics?
No, it is. Freddie, I wouldn't make a good politician. I can't lie like some of the way that some of them are doing. Look, but there's nothing stopping us. We know that they've been advocates all around the world in different countries. Whether you serve on some commission, whether you're an NGO or whatever it is.
I think you got to be careful. In bashing the politicians only. The politicians are not.
No, but the people have to take equal blame.
Society is terrible.
No, of course, but hold on.
They're a horrible bunch of people.
No, because
the media. Look what the Gildarie, when you and I sat next to each other in Kaicho News. Look what Kaicho News has become. Look what Starbucks News has become. You could imagine a country where a professor wrote, "I support Freddie Kissoon. The government should be even-handed." They took out my name.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Is this the show?
Yes, this is the Freddie Kissoon Gildarie show. I switched it around. Tonight is his birthday.
Okay, good night. I'm calling from Canada.
Sure.
Okay, I'm calling from Canada. I've never called your show. The reason why I'm calling is because recently you guys discussed that apartheid issue.
Yes.
And I'm really upset because I want to know why the government is laying back and have such nonsense floating around.
Well,
I cannot get that.
Well,
the reason why
7 ministers promised to come on the show, and they haven't come as yet. I think they have an obligation. Yes. I spoke to one minister today, and I don't want to say her or him, I told that minister that the ministers have an obligation to come and respond to Aubrey Norton. So if you can get them on, I would appreciate it.
Okay, I get things off my mind. The reason why I'm calling is that how can Norton, somebody from an African descent, have such disrespect for South Africans? Because apartheid means people are living in separate quarters, going to separate schools, cannot vote. They do not live homogeneously. They're not schooled homogeneously. They cannot go to the same toilets.
Well, when that question came up, you heard Mr. Norton's response, and I think he tried to explain it as economic apartheid, which I think it's two different things, and it's totally, I'm not sure who came up with the apartheid situation. If you could tell me that and Freddie would have pushed for a bank for Afro-Guyanese, I have my own thoughts on that. But it's different conversations. So for you to mix it all up, I find it that it's unacceptable. But if it is that we want to talk equal opportunity for all, or maybe...
I was saying that if you analyze the employment by ethnicity, 75, give me a go here. 75% of the staff of the airport are in the Afro part of their community. United Forces, 75%.
We're losing you there, ma'am.
Hello.
5% of the civil servants. People, if 95% of the people are getting the employment, is the apartheid concerning the other races because they're not treated fairly? 75% of staff in the airports are indigenous. Where is the apartheid for it other people?
Well, it sounds convenient for when we could talk about it, but it's a conversation that we have to have.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
The Alphabets had 500 million. They had a lot of money granted to empower blacks, which is good. So is the apartheid for the other races that didn't get this support? Because
it's an interesting question, and those are questions that
kind of
all right.
So only one race is getting support. So why are we discussing apartheid? And shouldn't they, have some sort of charge for libel? Because that's not right.
All right. So thank you very much for coming. Two very pertinent points. All the best for the new year. Good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Freddie Kissoon. How are you guys?
Pretty good, sir. Go right ahead.
Yes. Happy birthday, Mr. Freddie Kissoon.
Thanks. Thanks.
I think this gentleman is doing a great job, a fantastic job for everyone. I know you're going to have your haters, but don't worry about that. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I'm calling from the United States.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for coming.
My dad used to live in Canada. I live in the United States now. But my dad used to cut all the snippets out from your editorial stuff. I when I come to Canada, I asked them 3-4 months to give me to read that.
Yes.
So I would thank you for that because you always have an inspiring column. And you guys keep up the great work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All the best. Bye-bye.
All the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sure you guys, I've been getting a couple of us. I'd like to have lunch with you guys or something.
Okay.
Freddie is buying. Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
I'll buy it, don't worry.
Later.
Just let me address the viewers. For those viewers who are looking, when I'm twisting and turning, I'm looking to see where my dog is. She's sitting down quietly now. Yeah, we have
a caller here. Good evening, caller.
You sure it's not your cell phone?
Yes, go right ahead.
So I'm calling to I heard your last show where Mr. Kissoon was talking about this Venezuela and this young guy that died. And that has affected me personally a lot because I have a son too. And I was wondering why they didn't go to the Venezuelan embassy and probably get a translator, get somebody to get involved to see how they could, because I know we're English speaking, a lot of these officers probably don't understand the Spanish. Why not get a translator to intervene with that young man? That was very painful to know that the guy hung himself. And then I also, to do with Gildarie, I heard on some program back you mentioned with Harbajan about, just permit me to say this, right, that about these farmers, right, farmers that gone overseas and they're renting their land. But Gildarie, I am not so old, but I want to tell you that the little I know, I'm from the West Berbice area, and back in the days of my grandfather, they used to plant rice in the, they had rice land, and Burnham took away those people rice land and at Kabawa in the west coast of Berbice and made it into a ranch. And when PPP government went back into power, PNC gave most of the land to this guy that was doing rice in the west coast there.
Benny Sankar?
His name.
Benny Sankar?
Yes, Sankar. And yes, and PPP government tried to give back some of these small farmers some land because their foreparents had farm on Burnham, took away all their rice land in Kabawa. So, you know, when you say things before, those who don't know the history of what Burnham did a lot, and people don't know these things. My parents,
I know, I'm not young as Gildarie, I know.
No, I think the point, the point I was trying to make with regards to the lands, I'm not, I've been told, you cannot, it's like the person was asking if you're overseas, and this is a big issue. If you have pension being given out in Guyana, whether you're entitled to that pension if you're living overseas, it's an old age pension they're talking about. Now, I'm saying that for the Guyanese people, you're running out of lands here, and you got people here who hasn't lived there for 40, 50 years. But because you inherited from a grandfather, nobody lives here. All you're doing is taking that land there and give it to somebody. That land was given to you under special conditions. I understand that people might say that it belonged to you. It doesn't really belong to you. There are conditions that come with it. You got to hear the stories with the co-ops.
Yes, I know it's lease land, right? 99-year lease and those stuff. But this is it, Gildarie. The point is that they are, you know who caused these people to go away? Hello?
Yeah. But,
you know who caused these small farmers to run out of business? The same contract, these big farmers that have machinery, they charge small farmers gold and jewelry to get their land, prepare the preparation of their land and all of that, and they kill these small farmers. They couldn't afford to pay them to prepare the land, and the profit was nothing coming to them. So what is small farmers, most of them did, is they rent out the land to the ones who got the machinery. Now they want to turn back and own the people land. That's not right.
Yes, it's a lot.
If that is true, that is not
true. No. But
if that is true,
Freddie, the story is, listen to me, ma'am. You're so hitting the nail on the head there. So very good. I've heard some stories that's going to blow your mind away. How some people got rich and on top of whose back. You ever wonder why those people commit suicide in those areas? You got to see the nonsense that happens, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the poverty. Nobody's talking about the impact of those spraying that it has on men. Nobody's talking about suicide. Nobody's talking enough about drinking. Nobody's talking about that. But thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank
bye.
you. I like that caller. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Did we lose that call? I'm sorry. Yeah, I think we lost that. I'm sorry. My apologies. Freddie, I got to do some more investigation and talk about the rice industry there. Freddie, the rice industry is so stinking. You got to see who own all those lands, and you got farmers crying for a piece of land, a little 15 acres and things like that, can't get it. Good evening, caller. Go right ahead.
Yes, Mr. Gildarie.
Yes, Freddie Kissoon.
Gildarie, I would like you to talk about the Granville Park situation with the road. So you started on it, but you were cut by Mr. Kissoon.
That's the BV Triumph thing?
That is Granville Park.
In BV or Triumph, right?
This is in the BV area.
Yeah. When the guy,
If you come and see this, the streets where the senior citizens and the school children have to go through to go to school.
No, that was raised on this program. At that time, Gildarie was away in business. That was raised on this program. We had the chairman of the BV Triumph, and that question was raised, and he said that doesn't come under the jurisdiction of the Belfield Triumph NDC. That comes directly under the Ministry of Public Works. So I hope the Ministry of Public Works is listening.
Yes, Granville Park, East Coast Demerara. Terrible, deplorable roads, the residents.
But the guy said there's a housing community hostel and no roads.
Right.
Came on the point. I don't think you were...
Freddie, we got about 20 minutes more. I would like to hear from Freddie Kissoon as to what we would have talked about it over the last couple of months. You know, the government, I think, in your opinion, based on what you've said, they have done tremendously well. But are there areas that you would like to see in the new year that you believe that the government is falling down on? Because obviously they're not perfect. I spoke to Vice President Barrett Jagdeo, and he would have said to me, Mr. Gildarie, I don't have any fear of criticisms. What I want people to be is fair towards us. And I'm interested in telling him that, look, this is where you've fallen down on. Because somebody talked a little while back about the right to have free and fair speech. But I would like to hear from you, Freddie.
That's this thing.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Yes, go right ahead.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. You're on to the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show.
Oh, good night, gentlemen.
Yes.
I'm calling from Albion and Quarantine.
Albion? Albion.
Quarantine.
Yes.
You're not hearing good, Gildarie.
I have a problem with my eyesight and hearing. Go right ahead, sir.
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
We hearing you.
Can you hear us? Albion, you there?
We want to hear from the Albion. I hope
Are you there, sir? I think it has to be his phone. Our phone is working on.
Yes, sorry about that, Albion. We want to hear from Albion. And
please call back again.
If you can, call back and let us get your call there. Wherever you are, it is getting on to about, I think it's about 15 minutes, 17 minutes before program time.
You want to call
Freddie? Yes, let us see here. Good evening, caller. Yes. Hi, how you doing? Leroy Smith, the journalist.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this program. I don't usually get a chance to look at it. I just heard somebody talking about freedom of speech and what's not. I think what is important in this country for persons to understand is that freedom of speech doesn't give you the right to jump on social media or go anywhere, write in a newspaper, go on your TikTok and whatnot, and say what you want to say about people and issues without being able to actually represent it and so on. And I think it's something that people really need to understand. A lot of people jump on social media, they say things, they do things, and then when the consequences are brought to bear on them, the first thing they jump to say is, oh, freedom of speech. That is something that persons really need to pay attention to. Also, somebody spoke on, but both of you addressed the issue of suicide and what's not. What I've found over the last couple of months, or maybe about 2 years now, is that there are a lot of people walking around this country with a lot of problems that they don't tell nobody because they don't know who to talk to. They don't know the system, they don't know where to turn to or who to turn to. And every time you say something bad to somebody, whether it be on social media or what's not, or in person, somebody passing you, so, come to you, man, you don't see where effing going on. Let me know, like these sort of things. These things have a bearing on the problem on these people, in addition to the problems that they are already facing.
Mm-hmm.
And I say all of that to say, and to encourage persons, that when you're on the road and you see somebody and so on, it would not kill you to give them a nice salutation. I was in a store this afternoon, and a family came in, and the woman said good afternoon, because we were standing there waiting to exit. The woman said good afternoon. The little boy, who looks like just about 14, he passed straight with him out long, and the father the same thing. And so I turned to my friend, I said, you see what go on there? I said, this is where the problem is. He passed, this is an adult, he passed 3 persons straight, come into a building, passed 3 persons straight, not say anything. The wife said good afternoon, the son did not say good afternoon, and this is where these little things start from, and then they grow up believing that, oh, this is how you're supposed to carry on normally and so on. So we need to be able to work on bringing back certain values and so on. Another issue I want to touch on just before I leave is the issue of employment. There are a lot of work going on around the place. And what I have found is that there are people who just do not want to work. Plain and straight, don't want to work.
And that's an indictment.
They call you and they'll ask you for a raise and whatnot, and they're not going to come next week. They're going to come another week and ask for it again. I had a situation where I took a young man to work along with a contractor that's doing some work for me. I said, look, have him work with you, and whatever you're paying the other people and so on at the end of the week, pay him and so on. This is somebody that did not have a job. The boy gone to work. By the time I meet to Georgetown, the contractor calls me to tell me the boy gone home. He called and said he said he got out of Palang and break your hand, so you got to go to the hospital. He got out of there very loud at home. No hand break, no foot break, nothing. And so when it comes to the employment thing, there's some people who just don't want to work.
I hear you, Leroy. And I want to say thank you very much. This is Guyana's, one of Guyana's journalists, Leroy Smith of the Big Smith News.
Leroy, are you there?
Yeah, right.
We're going to invite you on the program to discuss these things, especially the freedom of speech and people going on social media and saying all kinds of things. I'm writing in the mainstream media. You know how many libels I have? I got.
All right, thank you, Leroy. You got another call coming in. We have a chat. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. All the best. Good evening, caller.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Gildarie and Freddie Kissoon.
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
You have to speak up. You have to speak up. Speak a little bit louder.
In the construction industry, right?
Yes.
We got a lot of contractors getting jobs from the government right now. And there's a specified rates are there for tradesmen, laborers, and etc., right? However, me as a tradesman for over 20 years, we are not asking for the specific rate that was given from the government, but at least something reasonable could compensate you for your skills, right? Now, if you're a contractor, you have permanent work. You're paying $5,000 a day. I have another person, he's paying $7,000 a day, but he only have a short period of work. Me as a family man, I would go for the $5,000 because it's a long term. I haven't a choice. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
What I am saying, things should be put into place that contractors should be paying skillmen the way the skills that they have and the way they're supposed to be paid.
Well, all over the world, that's one of the major problems that you have. That you have different workplace playing different things. It cannot be a government control kind of system. That's not going to be acceptable. But I agree with you. It is always going to be a problem.
Yes. At least something should work out,
Yeah, it is. But in a society or in an economy where it's free competition and those kind of things with any government restraints, which is something we fight against.
Right. The same thing, right? You have some very good men, some very good contractors, normally to honor their obligation, but some of them are very,
Yes. Thank you very much for coming through there, sir.
Sure.
All the best in New Year. I think there's one more call here. Let's go right there. The calls are coming through very quickly. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, hi. This is regarding the topic of apartheid again. Now, you were saying that Mr. Norton claimed that he is referring to economic apartheid. It is very, very important for him to define what he means by that term. Now, if he means that Indians make more money than Africans, for example, that may or may not be the truth. Okay. Now, in the United States, for example, the group that has the highest income is the Asian group. All right, that includes Indians, and the average is $87,000, 243. Okay, at approximately $87,000. Per year for income. Okay, the white Americans, they have approximately $66,000. African Americans, approximately $44,000. So what we're saying then, the Indians probably making twice as much money as the Africans. Now, do you call that economic apartheid simply because they have a higher source of income? You take in Africa, for example, what's happening there as well. Indians making lots of money. Why? Now, we all know what happened in Uganda in 1972. Idi Amin kicked out the Indians. Then a few years after, about 10 years after, they were pleading for the Indians to come back. So I think it's very important for us to study the context of the Indian contribution. All right, it's something that this is a very serious accusation about apartheid, and I think it's something that Guyanese really need to look at it head on and address it.
But excuse me, sir, stay on the line. If you do any detailed economic analysis of poverty, the poverty among Indians is probably, I'm saying probably, it's probably the same with Africans, or maybe even more. That in itself dents and eradicate the validity of economic apartheid. People don't realize there's a lot of poverty among Indians in this place.
There is a lot of it. Absolutely. Actually, there was a study by a scholastic study done by, I believe, I can't remember the last name. I think it's Rajpat or something. I can't remember. Dhanraj, I can't remember the name. Anyway, yeah, this was a scholastic study. It's veritable. And it's pretty much said the same thing. That Indians
is it Karan Kemraj?
No, not him.
Okay.
The other guy. I can't remember his name. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for coming to very good points.
Thank you.
God bless. Right. There's one from Virgin Islands here. Let's take this one very quickly. British Virgin Islands. Good evening. Could you lower your volume, please? Hello? Could you lower your volume, please? Yes, lower your volume, please.
Good night.
You have to take off your volume, sir, or else we're gonna have to end the call.
Yeah, there's a lot of feedback, sir.
Okay.
Tune that thing down.
All right, go right ahead, British Virgin Island. Let's hear you.
Yeah, here. Everybody talking about politics, race, religion, culture, everything. What's going on between we own country? Back in the days, we used to be friendly, nice, with the money. What more money we making now compared to back in the days what we used to make? Where the government coming in to help these poverty? When we had oil, we had coal. We had bauxite, gold, diamond, all kind of stuff. Where is the money? Where is the wealth? We owe everybody. Did the money cover what we don't pay or we not pay?
All right. That's the question. That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Freddie, very quickly. Thank you for coming through the call, all the way from British Virgin Islands. Thank you. Freddie, we got like about 5 more minutes. I think that is it for the calls.
Well, if I could ask the cameraman to put you in the frame so I could pick up my dog. So I could leave my seat to pick up. Is he here?
Okay, wait.
Yeah,
Take
sure.
one last call. This is a very lucky person. One last call. Go right ahead, caller. Hello?
Mr. Gildarie and Mr. Freddie.
Yes, go right
I
ahead.
want to know, Mr. Freddie, I want to know about I'm doing so bad, make you this always try for a number, I want them guy. I'm too filthy your face, man. That try to pull yourself up, man. You don't talk like you're not positive at all. You just run a number and all the time, man. You gotta behave yourself, man. That's what humble yourself, man.
Thank you very much for coming through.
You have to humble yourself, man. Talk to you, man. Talk like Gildarie, look like positive, man. You just run a number.
You want them to wear a shirt like mine? You know, he did not even offer me a kudos or anything with regards to my shirt and his birthday today. Thank you very much for coming through the caller. All the best. Freddie, we just no, that's all right. This is a free country, and in fact, I would seriously like to let think. Freddie, it is the end of the year. This is the last show. I would like your comments about where
that call. You want to take that call?
Freddie Kissoon.
We can always get time to talk, man.
No, sir.
Let's see what the caller wants to say. Please press the button.
There's an example of Freddie Kissoon does not want to do. He doesn't want to answer. He's been doing that all night. Good night, caller.
Good night, gentlemen.
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
I'm calling from Albion, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Good. We get you clear now. Good.
First of all, I would like to congratulate both of you. You are doing a wonderful job, and I know a lot of people in Barbados are looking at this show.
Well, I want to say good night to the good Barbadians people. I love Barbies food. I like Barbies hassle too.
So let me take this opportunity to invite both you, Freddie, Leonard and Freddie, to my home.
Thank you. Sometime when I'm up there, I'm going to pass. But go right ahead, sir, very quickly.
Right, quickly. The reason why I made that statement is that I want both of you gentlemen to come to see what is happening, especially in the urban profound area in terms of the high cost of living. The high cost of living is killing people here, and no one seems to be doing anything to alleviate the suffering that the people are suffering here, especially in the urban profound area.
I'm going to be there, excuse me, I'm going to be there in the next few weeks. You just give me a call. You have my number. You just give me a call on that. Happy New Year to you, sir. Thank you for coming through. I want to say good night to all. I think my throat is going for
COVID.
Yeah, it's not. Were you scratching the dog for fleas or so?
No, I felt.
Oh, okay. Let me see. There's somebody who's trying desperately to get through to us. Let's go ahead, call it quickly. One call.
Dog don't have fleas, okay? The dog is well looked after.
Go ahead, caller. Yes, you got to speak a little closer to the phone. We're not hearing you very clear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's because of the headphones. Let me turn that off. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you a little better. Go right ahead.
Okay, hi. Good night. First of all, wishing the best and Happy New Year's to everyone for the coming New Year. I'm calling from New York City.
Okay,
I'm watching the show as I'm out and about, walking around. I think that referring to the caller that called making the statement about the economic apartheid with regard to the opposition leader, I don't think a fair comparison can be made between the United States and Guyana in that, there are studies upon studies upon studies that show historically that, whether it's someone of black descent, Hispanic descent, even Indo descent in certain cases, they have been
put at a disadvantage in regards to economic opportunities because of their race and their background. I don't think there's any example of that in terms of a study that can be shown in Guyana, you know?
Yes.
So I don't know if that can be a fair comparison to make that. But I do think that it is a very, I would say, dangerous statement to put that out, again, without proof to show that. So you don't know if that's going on and you can't prove that it's going on. And until you can do so with evidence, I don't think it's a fair statement to make on either side.
Thank you very much for coming through. Yes.
Okay, just everybody have a safe and a happy new year. I got a chance to go home twice this year, and it was beautiful each time. I can't wait.
Our country is beautiful. Our country is beautiful, and I love my country. Thank you very much, and all the best for the new
A lot
year.
of positive things are happening. You too, guys. Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. You too, sir. Bye-bye. So we're down to program time. I just think we are actually going over, and I know that our operator has been very patient with us. Freddie Kissoon has insisted that it is his birthday today, and he's not searching for fleas in the dog. The dog does not have fleas, and he's very upset with me. And I'm very happy to be sharing the platform or the table with Freddie this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be a sad time to say goodbye to 2022. It has been, I would say, a watershed year for myself, out of the media into business, and what a year it's been. I think this is the only year, or the first year, which I had so little sleep. I went home 4 o'clock this morning, and I was working the entire, and this happened. This has been happening the last couple of months. But with regards to the government, I believe coming next year, I would love to see them reach across the divide a little more. I'm not sure if the opposition is going to do it, but we have to, as a people of this country, pull out all the stops when it comes to the development of this country. We have to ensure that we do what it takes, because we have an opportunity of a lifetime here. Are we doing enough? We also, on one hand, and we've been talking about it, the power that we have as a people, we have to start understanding that power, understanding that vote that we have given, the power of a passport, and the kind of responsibility that comes when you're a citizen of this country. It's a privilege now. It might not have been that way a few years back. Right now, people are dying, or they want to come to Guyana so badly. We have a lot of investors are coming here, carpetbaggers I call them, some of them, that badly wants a piece of the action, a piece of this country. And we have to care this country. It is not only about the time to develop this country for us, but for our children and grandchildren. Where is it that we like to see this country 10 years from now? What is it that we like? How is it that we like to see this government behave? All of these are things that we have to take stock. It's not just good enough to be sitting on our hands and say it's Freddie Kissoon job, or Gildarie job, or Irfan Ali job, or Jagdi job, or Aubrey Norton job. You have to take care. See somebody throw garbage, pull them up. Ladies and gentlemen, as we head into the new year, I'm not sure if Freddie, you want to say something very quickly. From my family and Freddie Kissoon family, we would want to say all the best for the new year. Let us be very serious Guyanese. We would want to say on behalf of myself, on behalf of the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show, to all who've been viewing us, all the calls which have been coming through, all the support we've been given. I've received numerous texts where Freddie has said a lot of emails he has been receiving. We are deeply appreciative of that, and as we go forward in the new year, I'm not sure what it brings, but I'm going to continue to serve this country. I know Freddie has his heart in this country. We will do what it takes to play our role as advocates, or whatever you want to, whether it's talk show. I'm not sure what it is, but we want to play our role. Freddie?
Well, it's Guyana, and there's so much things that has been wrong the past year. I think when we come next year, we will reflect on 2022. There are things that I saw in 2022 that in the 70s as a young university student, I never thought would have continued. And I've said, I lamented and bemoaned some of those things. On the other hand, I think we're on the threshold of a takeoff. when you have a country with so much oil find and oil that is in demand, it will translate into resources that we've never had, income that we never had except in the early 70s when sugar prices were sky high. So I think there is the good and the bad to discuss when we come back next week. For those of you wondering what I'm doing here, it's my birthday, so I thought I'd give my viewers a surprise and bring one of my favorite persons in life, my doggy. Thanks for bearing up with us the past 6 months. We never thought that we'd get this kind of reception. We hope to continue it in the new year and keep staying with us. And what is it that the philosopher from Italy, Antonio Gramsci, once said? The optimism of the will has to override the pessimism of the intellect. So, till next year, bye-bye.
Take care, folks. Enjoy the weekend. A Happy New Year's to you from our family to yours. This is the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon Show, last show of the year, and we're going to be back with you next year. Good night.